Citing self-defense, the U.S. military shoots down an aircraft belonging to a NATO member. And we take a step closer in learning more about the history of humans in America. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Happy Friday. Today is October 6th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. A United States fighter jet has shot down an armed Turkish drone flying near American troops stationed in Syria. The incident happened Thursday. The Pentagon says it's the first time the U.S. has brought down an aircraft of a fellow NATO ally. Pentagon Press Secretary, Air Force Brigadier General Pat Ryder, called the incident regrettable, saying the U.S. troops went into their bunkers for their safety.
U.S. commanders assessed that the UAV, which was now less than a half a kilometer from U.S. forces, to be a potential threat, and U.S. F-16 fighters subsequently shot down the UAV in self-defense at approximately 11:40 local time. It's important to point out that no U.S. forces were injured during the incident. We have no indication that Turkey was intentionally targeting U.S. forces.
U.S. officials say the F-16 shot down the drone after more than a dozen calls to Turkey military officials saying troops were on the ground and the U.S. military would take action if the drone did not leave the airspace. Ryder said forces on the ground had seen drones doing airstrikes in the morning inside the area the U.S. declared a restricted operating zone. That's about a half mile from where troops were located. About 4 hours later, a Turkish drone entered the zone again. After warnings went unanswered, Ryder said U.S. commanders on the ground took quick action. A defense ministry official from Turkey says the drone did not belong to Turkish armed forces. America's support of Kurdish forces in northern Syria has caused tension between the U.S. and Turkey. Turkey views those forces as members of the militant Kurdish Workers' Party. This incident occurred on the same day a drone attack killed at least 80 people and injured 240 others during a military graduation in Syria. Syria's military blames insurgents for the attack, but did not name any particular group. As the number of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally continues to climb, the Biden administration announced another step to discourage that from happening. Yesterday, we reported the administration waiving federal laws to make way for the construction of a border wall in Texas. On Thursday, the U.S. announced immigration authorities will start deportations to Venezuela immediately. An official with the Biden administration said they would resume flights back to Venezuela to, quote, show how we are committed to imposing consequences on those who cross the border unlawfully. Officials have not said how many flights to Venezuela the administration would operate or how many migrants are expected to be flown back. The U.S. is facing record levels of migration of Venezuelans as hundreds of thousands look to reach the U.S. amid poor economic conditions and food shortages in their country. Officials say Venezuela has agreed to accept its nationals back. Last month, the Department of Homeland Security extended temporary protected status for 18 months for approximately 472,000 Venezuelans already living in the U.S. as of July 31st. With the House looking to vote on its next speaker in the upcoming days, the Republican frontrunner for the 2024 presidential election has voiced his opinion. Former President Donald Trump says he is backing Representative Jim Jordan. In a post on his Truth Social site Thursday night, Trump said Jordan has, quote, my complete and total endorsement. In January of 2021, Trump awarded Jordan the Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. In his post, the former president spoke highly of Jordan's college wrestling days and his degrees in law and education. Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise announced their bids to fill the vacant seat after Kevin McCarthy was removed in a historic vote this week. Some Republicans have suggested Trump himself be nominated for Speaker of the House. While the Speaker does not have to be a member of Congress, a non-member choice would be another first for the House. A vote for Speaker is expected next week. A gunman who went by the moniker Prophet of Doom in online videos was sentenced to life in prison Thursday for opening fire on a New York City subway. The April 2022 attack left 10 people injured, ranging in age from 16 to 60. The suspect, 64-year-old Frank James, disguised as a construction worker. He was able to walk away from the mass shooting scene, setting off a citywide manhunt. James was eventually arrested after calling a police tip line to turn himself in. Prior to sentencing, 3 of the victims spoke out in court, with one saying, quote, "I have not been able to make sense of it." Lawyers for James sought a reduced sentence, citing mental illness. James, who pleaded guilty to terrorism charges earlier this year, said in court that he alone was responsible, while criticizing the country's mental health system. The district court judge was not swayed, calling his actions pure evil. With Thanksgiving just over a month away, it's common this time of year to talk about turkey, but today we're talking about chicken and the rising cost to buy it. Chicken prices in grocery stores have hit record highs. While that's good news for top producers like Tyson Foods and Pilgrim's Pride, 2 companies who have dialed back their poultry production to improve earnings, it means more money coming out of the wallets of hungry shoppers. This in a time where consumers, wary of inflation, are turning away from pricier meats. Beef consumption is forecast to be at its lowest level since 2018, and pork consumption is currently at its lowest since 2015. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture says U.S. consumption of chicken is expected to exceed 100 pounds per person this year for the first time ever. Finally this morning, American astronaut Neil Armstrong famously said the phrase "one small step for man" as he stepped onto the moon in 1969. As for the actual first steps of man in the United States, that occurred much earlier, and new research is suggesting exactly when. Footprints discovered at an ancient lake bed in White Sands National Park in New Mexico likely date back to somewhere between 21,000 and 23,000 years ago. That's according to research published Thursday in the journal Science. Now, the age of the footprints was first reported in 2021, but some researchers were not convinced, debating the original dating method may not have been accurate. But in this latest study, scientists used 2 additional lines of evidence to support the date range. The dates challenge what most have believed, that humans didn't reach the Americas until about 15,000 years ago. Researchers are hoping these findings are a big step in learning more about how humans lived many, many years ago. These are your top stories for this Friday. Be sure to subscribe to our Morning Rundown podcast to listen to our show each weekday. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here on Monday. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great weekend.